with that Keeper of Light Invoker is a very, very strong pick.
It definitely is. We have seen a lot of teams go back to this FV a lot. You already have some pretty decent combinations to go off of. The response from RNG is great. That Shadow Demon going to be causing a lot of issues in these early Chronospheres. If the Void doesn't catch that support hero, he's not going to be doing as much as he would expect inside his own Chronosphere.
Certainly not. That Shadow Demon going to be a real issue, though. To be fair, every game we have watched as of late, it does seem like the Void does tend to only go for solo pickoffs with the Chrono until he has BKB. I suppose we'll see how EHOME runs it, though, because of course we haven't had the pleasure of watching EHOME throughout these closed qualifiers as of yet. This will be our first experience of the day with them. But of course the Shadow Demon was a great pickup up against that Void, as you've already mentioned. But EHOME, fourth pickup. Seems like they still need some form of damage from outside that Chrono. And it's a problem we've been seeing over and over again with the Void over the past 3 days, where you throw the Chrono out, you get a great Chrono, but the damage just is not there to follow up. And EHOME pick up a Rubik, which does indicate a core invoker, which is much more standard.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's a bit reassuring to see coming out from EHOME. Of course, still a very early pick, not something that I'm too confident in. That does show us, again, RNG should be able to counterpick that quite well for the mid-matchup. I mean, you never know, Mike. It could be a core Rubik if EHOME decides to go really left field. Probably not, especially since you have to consider that Void. Just way too much combinations coming out there early on. I like the Rubik pick. I think there's a lot of decent spells to steal here from RNG that could contribute. The biggest one is the Lina. So Rubik stealing any spell from that Lina just gives you so much more in terms of damage and control. Should work out quite well in that Chronosphere if you do manage to position yourself well. And just kind of solidifies this much more team fight-oriented draft coming out from EHOME. At the very least, once you get that game going, you will be playing around with that Chronosphere in that mid to late game. Earlier on, the laning phase at the start does seem to favor RNG. Their lineup just comes online in a snap. Lina is quite effective early on. Centaur has a really good stun. Shadow Demon's very good setup for both of these heroes. So you have a lot that can happen from RNG. That aggression early on should be enabled by the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, absolutely. RNG, though, fourth pickup. Where are we going into with this? They are still yet to reveal their position 1 and 2. There's the gyrocopter, and we've seen this over and over again being picked up. It has had some great success up against the Void, which surprised me initially. I thought the Void would just be a direct, not necessarily counter towards the gyro, but I thought it would outscale it during the late game. Really hasn't been the case, though, with these gyrocopters. It seems like they just counterpick the Void with this hero, and it seems to work out most of the time.
It definitely does. It's an issue of timing. Void takes a while to get going. We talk about those early Chronospheres being used on only one hero, and even when it's used like that, you need backup. Gyrocopter doesn't have that kind of timing. He's just online from the laning phase. Maybe it takes you about level 2 to 3, depending on your lane support. In this case, RNG does have a really solid combination coming out either way. So he can just be off and start and going from level 1 with an early rocket barrage if they so choose to be aggressive. And the moment you hit 6 in the gyro, you could flash farm much faster. You don't need to rely on a really good Midas timing, although you do see a lot of gyros go for that. But you can still clear out that jungle faster than the Void can. You can start taking fights earlier than the Void can. And you can just escalate much, much more consistently than the Void can. You're not relying on casting that one big spell every 2 minutes, hoping to find a pick-off, and hoping that pick-off has high impact, and going around a map, just running around, juggling around that cooldown. Gyrocopter can just afford to be going at a much more, I wouldn't say leisurely pace, but a much more free-form pace. He's not constricted by that kind of long cooldown you see in the Void. The Shadow Shaman pickup here from RNG is interesting because that does mean it's going to be a core Lina, and Shadow Shaman just works quite well against that Void. You have 2 heroes to worry about when you drop that Chrono. You have the Shadow Demon and the Shadow Shaman. You have to catch both of these supports to really get success in your ultimate as VT Faded, and that's going to be a really tall order. The last pick, Beastmaster, does give them a lot of vision, does give them a lot of single target control, which again works out quite well with what you want to get going early on. You need someone to set these fights up. The Beastmaster does that well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Overall, RNG's draft should be easier to execute.
It definitely should be. But it does look like a fairly even matchup between the two. And, well, a very entertaining matchup to come, I'm sure. As they can't leave anything behind. It's the final BO3. It's their last chance for the major spot. There's only one left, and it's got to be one of these guys. So all cards are going to be on the table. But we should get into it very, very soon. Did I ask you what you had for dinner before, John?
No.
What
I
did you have
do
for
believe
dinner?
you haven't. You know, I can't even remember, Mike, with all the stuff that's happened. I really have no clue what I just ate anymore. I think I had leftovers from lunch, and that would be pad thai from a really nice restaurant.
Wow.
Really good pad thai. Unfortunately, I don't even remember eating it because, well, stuff happens, Mike. That was the highlight of my day.
Thank you for that, John. I do like pad thai myself. It is quite delicious.
Prepare for battle.
RNG. Good luck, have fun coming out from Faith Beyond, and Setsu will return the favor. Always good to see the good sportsmanship from these two teams. And a lot of tips going towards Sin Q on the Rubik.
Am I still here?
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
Oh, you are, John. Well, I can hear you. Apparently you can't hear me, but you are. So
Yeah,
don't say anything stupid.
No, I wouldn't, Mike. I know how it's happening. I know I've seen this Discord issue before, and I reset my PC, and then after doing that, my hard drive failed. And then I took 30 minutes to fix my hard drive, come back in. Discord still busted for me. So some things just never go smoothly, Mike.
But did you try unplugging and replugging it in?
I actually did do that to my hard drives, believe it or not. So I had to tear down my laptop, which is not particularly fun if you've ever had a laptop.
Why? Mid lane, gonna get caught out by Setsu, and of course I haven't, John. I'm a PC overlord. I don't believe in this garbage that is a laptop.
A laptop is a PC, and that's a really good early ward take by Y. So there is a little less information going down that mid lane for RNG. Nice little win for them.
It is nice indeed. I wonder if they're actually gonna make the rotations through mid on Setsu though. Like, sure, you got the ward, which will make it a lot harder for Setsu to know what's coming. I mean, one rotation would be nice in conjunction with 897 that should have the early level in Quas as well to get the cold snap. But who would you...
He went with Exhort.
Yeah, of course, Exhort now, and I mean by level 2 or 3. But
yeah.
do you see Sin Q rotating on the Rubik to find the pickup on Setsu later on?
I can see it happening, and I do understand why. Invoker, you really want to give this guy a snowballed start, and we have seen Setsu, what happens to him if you leave him alone. You really just want to shut this mid Lina, gets online fast. It can start being a menace early on. It sets the pace for RNG. It's something EHOME has to keep in mind there.
A very difficult lane up at the top lane. Why? Gonna have his work cut out for him on the Coddle. Gonna be having to really spam that blinding light out as VT faded. It's not the most fun lane, and ironically enough, I believe it was VG Gaming running this up against RNG the last series, and the Shadow Shaman Centaur matchup up against the Void really does not work out in the Void's favor, though why a very nice blinding line into the T1. T1 though did not really go and get the aggro on the Shaman or Centaur. But in the last game, it was just as simple as hexing up or shackling the Void into the Hoof Stomp and Retaliate of the Centaur, and he just can't sustain the damage.
Yeah, Void early on is not a very tanky hero. He relies a lot on Time Walk. It's a 24-second cooldown at level 1. Hard to maximize. Once you commit that, you're basically done with trying to trade in lane. So you have to play a bit cautiously. It's something that Centaur can abuse quite well. His cooldowns are low. His damage output's great. Shadow Shaman as well. Same situation with him. So you really have to watch your positioning here as VT faded.
Setsu really giving it to 897 in the mid lane as well. It's one of those things with the Invoker versus Lina matchup. It does not favor the Invoker at all. And 897 is just going to have to struggle through it. He did bring plenty of regen with him though. I mean, he expected this to happen. Setsu can just continuously spam the Dragon Slave on 897 over and over again. Just keep right-clicking him down. 897 though, again, with that regen, will be able to sustain himself for quite a while. At least until that Quas is up in a few levels, and then you can just get that passive regen anyway. So again, I wonder at what stage you see someone like Sin Q actually rotate into that mid lane and try to set up for the kill. And you really only need the lift into the cold snap to get the job done, but it's just a matter of when, or do they even ever try to make that happen.
If you're not going to go down mid, at least win out your side lanes, and it is still a bit of a struggle for EHOME. Monet is not slowed down by that much, although Faithion is finding his own farm, so that's the positive right now for EHOME. Up top, of course, VT Faded. He's ahead in terms of last hits. He's actually doing quite nicely for himself. It's actually not all too bad. I wouldn't be too upset if 897 doesn't get that rotation, as long as these side lanes do win out.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
What's the mid lane? You look at Setsu. 897 trying to pull the creep wave back. And he did get that, but Setsu is not letting up at all. He just goes behind the tier 1. Now the tier 1 tower mid lane is being pushed in. Y will try to bring the creep wave away from that tier 1, but Setsu, look at him just dominate 897.
Ooh.
He's forced the Fairy Fire up, but he's still not backing off. He wants to go for an LSA attempt. He won't quite find it. You see Sin Q immediately now rotating over as the Rubik. In fact, Sin Q did end up finding the courier. Sunstrike Setsu, he ends up copying it. Now the Illuminate Y will find him as well. Setsu immediately going to have to TP out. But man, a hell of a lot of action in this mid lane, and I mean, you saw both supports rushing in, trying to help this Invoker sustain his lane.
It's a rough time for 897. In fact, top lane as well. We're starting to see VT Faded get caught out.
Oh, hoof stomp from Flyone though, way off. Just had he found that, that probably would have been a kill. Bit unfortunate. This FF bot lane will cop the Sunstrike from 897 and does go down. Great play there from the Invoker, who does rely heavily on these Sunstrikes, especially after a bad lane like this. It's a bit of a shame. I mean, we talked about that that VT Faded not dying just then. I mean, it was just perhaps just a little bit too much greed on waiting for that that shackle to end. And well, bot lane, Monet, going to end up going down as well. Faithion will pick that one up. FF going to be chased. Sunstrike, he runs into it. Sin Q, can he dish out the damage? FF finds the trade on the Beastmaster, but Sin Q will punish. And so a 1-3 trade. 5.5 minutes into this game. In EHOME, they are still looking fantastic.
They definitely are. That's exactly what they need to be getting here in their lanes. Sure, you're copying a bit of a bad lane down mid, but your side lanes are starting to find stuff. You're not being slowed down on your cores, and you're definitely going to be happy with the state of the game as it is.
Dogfights. Looking to try and set up here on BT. You still got the collar around though. Courier, Dogfights, ignores it, goes to the shackle, Illuminate there, but Blinding Light will knock Flyone away. Hoofstomp, he does not throw it out. I suppose the Blinding Light already kind of ruined the attempt anyway, because you wouldn't be able to get those right clicks off, as FF mid lane finds the Invoker. But that's the second attempt on the Void that they just ended up failing with. And I mean, VT Faded, he's not got the greatest farm quite yet, but you definitely want to try and abuse him now while you can, because later on he's going to be way too hard to deal with on that Void.
It's definitely surprising they didn't go for Faded there. You have to consider his skill build as well. He went 1-1-3. That's a very greedy build. Just level 1, on that time walk. That means he has a massive window of vulnerability. I don't think RNG's been maximizing that. They haven't been forcing him out to buy a regen as much. He's just perfectly fine this way.
They're going to go after White. Blinding Light comes out. That'll help the cause a bit, but Flywin is there with the hoof stomp, and he will take him out. But look at Sin Q. Sunstrike not going to connect on Dogfights. The lift was not great. They still found him anyway, and Flywin, he gets taken down. Sin Q with a very nice Fade Bolt. Now takes the Shadow Poison from the Shadow Demon. But EHOME, just on top of those rotations, they punish heavily for that support kill from RNG.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Problem still remains though. Midlane is farming well and is maybe going to find a kill on the Beastmaster. Nice shackle coming in from Dogfights. Faith Beyond goes for the Raw though. He may fight back. Sunstrike coming in as well. They'll find him. Now the Chrono. They do find the Shadow Shaman. They may not have the damage, though no VT. He does get bashes. Disruption from FF was not quick enough. And Faith Beyond on the Beastmaster, understanding his limitations,
Radiant structures are fortified.
really pushes it all the way and will survive.
Yeah, this is, again, a very good early game coming out for EHOME. Just the aggression coming out from them, their perception to rotate on the map as needed. Just finding them all these early kills is giving a lot their way and denying a lot from RNG. In terms of farm, they only have a 1k lead despite the 4-kill lead they have at sub 10 minutes in. It's still a really good start that you can't underestimate.
This has opened up a lot of space for 897 though. He really hasn't caught up much in farm. Still trying to go for that Midas. But in terms of net worth, 2.6k, it's a rather abysmal game for him right now as Setsu does end up finding BT Fader down to the bot lane. It looks like it was the setup from the Shadow Demon into the Light Strike Ray and Laguna of Setsu that got the job done. They really need 897 to catch up quick on this Invoker. And although he's finding those Sunstrike kills, he just needs a lot more. Stampede. Where are they headed? Looks like they have found Y on the Keeper of the Light. Y was trying to go for the bounties. He does end up getting one for himself, but it does cost him his life in the end. That'll be the first Stampede usage of the game from the side of RNG, but it does pay off. Nice little pickup. They'll return back to that lane, continue trying to shut down VT Faded, who still is not farming the greatest. Well, 10 minutes in, if RNG have got one thing going for them, it is the fact that their cores are just farming a hell of a lot better. Serpent Ward's now going to be dropped as well from the Shaman. They want to try and force down this tier 1 tower, choke out VT Faded from this top lane. Don't allow him to keep farming up. A void without farm is essentially nothing.
Tower is under attack.
EHOME, they are going to smoke up, rotate top. Trying to find some pick off with the Roar from Faith Beyond, but that tier 1 tower is already gone, so all they can hope for is to try and punish. And Flywin could be a very easy target, but they keep looping around. They'll go for the Shadow Demon. There's that Will-O-Wisp coming out from Y. They'll find two big support pickups, and now the Chrono. VT Faded sets up. They're going to find a third kill here onto Flywin. Nice hoof stomp. He is still surviving somehow, but Sin Q will take a double on the Rubik. And so 3 kills once again going to EHOME.
Dire's
And so much, I mean, after that, you're not really going to mind losing that tier 1 that much. You've got a lot of XP, a lot of gold going EHOME's way. And especially the momentum of the game is really swinging their way as of now. The RNG are still just playing the farm game, at least for the moment. As Sin Q, that is a very quick rod of ATOS on this position for Rubik. Gonna pay a lot of dividends against the side of RNG. Just being able to lock somebody down
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
on top of the lift you already have.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
With that Rod of Atos, they should be able to really catch up this gyrocopter over and over again. EHOME do rotate bot, they do defend that T1. Midlane doesn't mind too much, he's still farming decently on this gyrocopter. If I say decently, he's actually below VT faded somehow.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Looked like his lane was going well, but apparently not as well as I would have hoped. And Flywin almost gets taken out himself, is forced to stampede his way out of that bot lane. But at the very least, it does allow him to survive. Midlane really going to have to try and catch up ASAP on this farm on the gyro. Luckily for him, with the flat cannon, it isn't too hard to get that work done. Does now have the drums up as well, which does help quite a bit.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Dogfight's going to drop towards mid lane. Flywin. Rod of Atos, Sunstrike straight onto that Centaur, lift him up, Illuminate there as well, but Flywin is just so tanky. They got the tier 1 anyway. Will-O-Wisp will hold Flywin in a bit longer, but it will not be enough. And now Setsu looking to jump in on this Voker. Yules is there, LSA connects and Laguna straight to the face. Now they want more. LSA stolen by SinQ though will stop them in their tracks. It will allow Wide to barely get away with his life intact. And RNG, they've been holding out for a long time, trying to get those core items. It looks like they are just ready to start shoving down those towers one by one and taking these team fights.
Definitely does look that way. EHOME, it's their turn to really take it slow. VT faded with that Mask of Madness. A lot of people argue that's a team fight item. It really isn't. It's a farm acceleration item, and he really still needs a lot more going for himself. He is working for that BKB first, does need it. Because that Chronosphere is just not effective if you can target this guy, get him controlled in while he pops that big ultimate. There is a smoke from EHOME now.
Well, they want to find some kind of punishment for all this, and they go again. Rod of Atos from SinQ. Straight onto the Centaur. Illuminate Roar as well. Call down being stolen. And Stampede being committed. Flywin, though, did end up going down regardless. And that seems to be the aim of the game for EHOME every single time. They just want this Centaur. They don't seem to want anyone else.
It's more of the fact that they can't find anyone else. I think in the end, that's what it boils down to. The Centaur is the one target they just seem to always jump into. I'm sure if they could find Monet, they'd be much happier with the Monet kills. But the Centaur is not too bad as well. You're slowing down his timing on the pipe, slowing down his timing on the eventual Crimson Guard, which means he's not going to be buffing up his entire team, and your Void can still do damage. So you're going to be happy about that if you're EHOME.
Oh, BT. Chrono straight on the Shaman, though Disruption will save from the Sunstrike. Perfectly timed from FF. Now they can try and turn, but Lina is dropping low. LSA won't land, but they'll find 897 with the Laguna Blade. EHOME now with a score of 7-11. 1k net worth advantage still going their way. The issue still remains with them that I see, that they're finding kills, but they're not finding the farm.
They really aren't. We've seen a lot of games turn out this way, and the kill lead is nice. It does give you a lot more in terms of EXP. The major issue right now is this Lina is finding a lot of very favorable trades every time you take these fights.
Oh, Monet.
RNG are still building up. Number one net worth is Setsu. So he's pretty much set to get whatever he wants. They do clear out what I believe was a few set of stacks in that Ancient. You're going to be very happy about that if you're EHOME. They might find a kill in Setsu if they really force the issue here.
BT faded some trouble though, bot lane. TP's away, cancels that off. Does stick around. Setsu, like you mentioned, goes down to 897 in the mid lane.
Radiant's middle tower
So action all across the map.
Radiant's
EHOME really just throwing it at him. Now pings on Flywan. VT gets a bash straight away on the first hit. Manalik is there from Y as well.
Radiant's middle tower.
Where's the follow-up? Sin Q, he won't initiate. Rather, they may go on the Shadow Demon, lift into the Sunstrike, and Sin Q will pick up another kill on the Rubik. He's now 8-0, by the way, on this pos 4 Rubik. Dogfights. These are Necro 3 units just taking down dogfights by themselves. And it looks like they are going to try and chase for Y on the Keeper of the Light. Stampede through. Will-O-Wisp has been dropped. Y should realize he is dead, and yes, Setsu, he'll take it very easily with the Laguna, and they'll take the Will-O-Wisp as well. So 8-14, but 3k net worth lead is there for EHOME, so they are starting to climb their way up with that net worth advantage. And again, if I may, John, Sin Q on the Rubik has really been setting up for his team. In fact, I believe I've lost John again. But that doesn't matter. Necro 3 book now up and available on Faith Beyond as well. He's looking fantastic on that Beastmaster. Rod of Atos, Sin Q. It's a very rare thing that you see a Rubik pick up a Rod of Atos that quick and make this much happen across the map. He's been involved in 13 of 15 kills. Though they may find 897 again, but he is going to stick charge up. Though they purge him up as well. Sin Q will Rod of Atos the gyro straight off the bat. Stop him from coming in. 897, he will TP out in time. Sin Q though could be in trouble. LSA connects. Looks like they find him. No. Why? He does get the blinding light. Homing missile is chasing Sin Q. He will go down in the end. FF though, being chased down by the Necro 3 units all over again. He'll be okay. Faith Beyond, he backs out as well. And in the middle of all that, I didn't even realize Setsu ended up going down. Must have been Faith Beyond on the Beastmaster getting that work done.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Looking over to Monet on this gyro. He's really starting to catch up in that farm game. In fact, he's overshadowed now, but he's overshadowed Void. About 200 gold ahead of VT Faded. It's very important these gyrocopters do get this good start. They are a powerhouse throughout that mid to late game as well, but you want to get that momentum your way first. If you can. As top lane, Sunstrike again going to get the job done. Sin Q setting up. Flywan jumps in with the stun. Setsu's there as well. They will find the trade. And at RNG, they can secure those top banner runes. Bot banner runes should be secured by the side of EHOME. A lot of items were also coming up. Monet picks up the BKB. There was also an Aghanim Scepter, I believe I saw. Oh, Raw is there. Sunstrike, again FF getting taken out. Now Tornado, they found Flywan. Flywan does have help in the form of Zetsu, but there may be no time. He tries to stun up the creeps. That's all he could have done to try and help. And a 10-19 now.
Is under attack.
This dire side does not want to allow any time to breathe. VT Faded does find a Chrono straight onto the gyro. Monet, the Sunstrike. BKB used up and wasted. Now VT, he pops his own. He just boarded as well. And they find Setsu. The bash is coming out. Can he just burst him down? It's so darn close though. No, he gets away in time. But VT, he wants it so darn bad, but it's too late. They'll go after dogfights instead on the Shaman. So close yet so far, although I say that Sunstrike 897.
Radiant's
That
top
wasn't
tower
too
has fallen.
bright.
Oh, it definitely
On
was
point.
Setsu. John, this draft from EHOME, we didn't talk about it that often, that much, but man, they took advantage of that Raw and the sun striking and all of this. It's insanity.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Mike?
Yes.
No.
He's gone again. We'll see you soon, John.
Radiant's
FF.
middle tower is under attack.
Top lane just going to push out the wave a bit. What I was trying to say to John while he was still around is The usage of this Invoker Sunstrike in conjunction with the Roars and the Chronos and the lifts with the Rod of Atos, they've just been fantastic from EHOME. And they've really given no breathing room to the side of RNG. Now you've got a Blink Dagger on 897, so he can really close the gap and throw those tornadoes out to set up for himself. He's also got that Aghanim Scepter up. And a 9 or 10k net worth lead to the Dire's side. Having a quick look at that win probability, 93% the way of EHOME. This is by the 22-minute mark, and that is quite a large margin to be winning this game by.
Definitely is. They've just gotten that control they wanted. They've managed to ride out the early power spike from RNG. We haven't seen Monet in the best spots just as of yet. In fact, it's been a rough run for him on this driver so far. So, really good from EHOME, just knowing what to do around his Void. VT Faded has been on point, and 897 has just been nearly, I'd say, Oracle-like in finding his Sunstrikes on point. Just really working out quite well. He should be able to clear out a lot more objectives as this game goes on.
Well, they may go for a top lane fight. The T2 tower going down. They want to try and punish for this. Wards are down. VT he jumps in. Straight Chrono on the gyro. Sunstrike comes out as well. Faith Beyond with the follow-up roar. Will-O-Wisp to catch out any more in FF. He was caught for a second. They found the target they wanted. 897 looking for more punishment though. Sin-Q gets the Rod of Atos. Chaos Meteor. Sin-Q will take it on the Rubik. And it's starting to look like child's play for EHOME, John. They are just completely dominating every fight they get into. And RNG just seemingly have no idea how to deal with this.
It's just falling apart for RNG. It looked like they had a game plan with this draft. They had an idea on how to execute this. With the BKB up in VT phases, you just have no control up against that Chronosphere anymore, even if you are standing outside. You only have a Shadow Demon's self-disruption on an ally. And there's only so many people you can save in the middle of that Chronosphere. If you're not caught in it yourself, it's just hard now to play against this. This is one of the earlier Void starts we've seen in a while, and Faded is just playing this hero quite fantastically. I like the Mask of Madness pickup in him. Granted, it is an early farming item, but you do get a lot more value out of it in team fights as the game goes on. He's working that quite well.
Why? Heavy Missile is going to follow him all the way. VT waiting on the high ground. Monet going to pop up. VT, what are you doing? He has BKB, but no. They're gone. Set to Cataclysm will come out. That is a very early Cataclysm at that. They do take down Setsu. VT Faded trying to man fight Monet and is getting away with it. Tornado as well. This is looking really bad for RNG as they are going to get cleaned up again. The buyback's coming out trying to save Monet. How did 897 get to level 21?
Did he get prioritized for tomes? That could be it. It could just be the fact that he has been around for a lot of assists across the map as well.
I suppose the Sunstrike kills, they do give XP.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He was around for... He was getting out a lot of those kills on the Sunstrikes, if not assists around the map as well. So he's been building up that way, and he's really just been online.
Chrono, straight on to the Shaman. Dogfights obviously can't survive that. Buyback, this could be the last team fight. As EHOME are not letting up Setsu, he's going to jump in. Yules will be there. Sin-Q is there to back him up. They don't find the cooldown. They still have the Aegis on VT, but it looks like that'll be enough for them. They'll back out. But man, oh man, 16k worth of a net worth lead for EHOME.
It's going to be very costly defense coming out here for RNG. They've bought out in at least 3 heroes. You still have it on Monet, I believe, but he doesn't have the gold quite yet. Setsu already popped this earlier on. So you're in a rough spot. You're 17k behind. Win probability now on Dota Plus is 99% going the way of EHOME. I don't really blame him. It's at that point where the Void is just kind of uncontrollable. You've gotten every single thing you'd want. Setsu, you know, he's got a lot as well, but he needs a lot more to be effective on this Lina now. And the exact opposite for 897. He's just gotten that nice catch-up. He might find that kill on the Shadow Shaman.
Cataclysm dogfights. Just gets blown up. There was not even a setup. He just got blown up by the Cataclysm. Now SinQ jumps in. BT, he has Chrono available. In fact, no, he doesn't. It's on cooldown for 56 seconds. Still, he doesn't need it, apparently. He'll lose the Chrono, though, very soon. Time Walk, he won't get it off. Flywind, gonna make a run for it. I thought he had the Chrono available. I just forgot EHOME doesn't give a crap. They still find 2 kills without it.
Yeah, it's been really good going for them. This is one of the more impressive Void games we've seen so far, Mike. VT Faded really shining this hero.
Setsu, oh, the hoof stomp into the lift. Takes the Dragon Slave, Rod of Atos. Flywind jumps in, doesn't get anyone in the stun. May lose his own life because of this. Though no, they're not really aiming him. They try to go after 897. Flywind now cold snapped up, he's gone. Faith behind on a godlike. Call down to try and slow it down. It does not do much. Can RNG stop this? They don't have many buybacks available. SinQ, easy lift on the gyro. BT, BKB Chrono. Straight on the gyrocopter, burst him down. 897 on the kill with Dogfight. Sunstrike Monet. He ran back, he cops it. They'll find BT faded though. That's the kill they wanted. Rod of Atos is going to be there on the Centaur. The raw disruption on the Lina. FF trying to save this Lina, but Setsu going to go down. No buyback on him. It looks like the dieback is there on the Centaur, and yeah, they call it. They're 22k net worth behind, John. Dota Plus had completely given up by this point. An absolute dominant performance from EHOME in this game number 1.
They just managed to ride out that rough early game. You know, the laning phase was 50-50, eventually eking it out there. They really placed a lot in VT Faded. He just came online, 897 as well, doing so much work on both his heroes. It's going to be interesting to see if RNG is going to go back and look to ban out that Void or the Invoker, because they just did so much work in this game.
You know, John, I would argue Faith Beyond and SinQ. I mean, I agree. The Void and the Invoker were just, you know, in combination were doing so much work. But SinQ, he was 8-0 at like 15 minutes in on the position 4 Rubik. He had a 10-minute Rod of Atos on a position 4.
He was on fire.
Faith Beyond just dominated the off lane. Everywhere you looked, he was just roaring people up, and then the Sunstrike was coming. I don't know who to say was the MVP in this match, because there's too many options. We'll just leave it at that. We'll let the chat decide. It is MLP Dota on Gen X Fire. We'll be back for game number 2 in just a moment, guys. Won't be too long.